Well, it's a matter of creating a career path. What I've found is that young people want a career path, but they also want a lifestyle that's inducive to their age and and their peers. So having a lifestyle, creating a 24-hour city that's alive all the time with activity and opportunities is the way to go. And then to have an economy that really is an economy that promotes career paths, where they know that when they finish school, they will have an opportunity to go somewhere and to do some things. And then what I've found also is young people want to live in an environment that promotes something, promotes like a green city, Blue Lake, those kinds of things. So people make choices based on not just the job opportunity, but they make the choice on the lifestyle and also the kind of city that they're living in.
Mr. Patmon?
What we have to do is leadership. That we have to push the big idea. People want to be involved with the big idea. Chicago doesn't have any problem bringing its youth back home because they have a developed lakefront. We have 6 miles of publicly owned lakefront, and we're still fooling around with which plan. We have to move forward, develop that lakefront, and make this the center of the region. At that point, young people will want to come home and help run and move our city. We also have to push the green jobs and let people know that they can be involved. The other thing is we have to bring them into government, young people. There should be a segment of government dedicated to that so that young people have some input into our government so that they feel welcome. You have to welcome them to the process. Too many of us old folks, and I include myself in this, too busy holding on and not busy enough bringing along. And that's what we have to do. The other thing is we have to stop with the hopeless rhetoric. It is what it is. We will survive. Well, a stray dog survives. So we have to give hope, and we have to speak to the idea of hope and lead this city back.
Mr. Patmon, thank you very much. Thank you also to all of you for your questions, and thanks to Jessica and Deborah for holding the microphones. I now have a final question for both of you, and you will each get 3 minutes to respond, and you will answer this in the reverse order from the opening. So, Mr. Patmon, you'll be first, followed by Mayor Jackson. And the question is this, regarding a recent report from Policy Bridge, which you probably both have seen, calls for a vision of the city that is smaller and greener. The authors write, quote, "We have lacked the political will to target intervention efforts where they have the best chance of making a real difference in restoring health and vitality to the city and its neighborhoods." So, and they go on to say, now is the time to do that. In other words, now is the time to become a smart, sustainable, and yes, a shrinking city. And I want to know if you share that vision. And I want to know, and if you do, help us understand how you'll make the tough decisions about where to target the city's limited resources. And if you don't share that vision, why not?
I absolutely, unequivocally, categorically, with every fiber in my body, disagree with Policy Bridge. If other cities can grow themselves, what the hell is wrong with us? Somebody answer that for me. That we all of a sudden are so hopeless and so without will that we're going to decide to be Youngstown. Wrong answer. We used to give houses away for $1. We used to say the house is good enough, put it in a lottery, and we give it away for $1 to repopulate our neighborhoods. We can grow our Asian community. We can grow our Hispanic community. We can have a city that people come back to live in. We forget the history of this region. When this region was bustling, 1 million people lived inside the city limits, and 500,000 of 400,000 lived outside. We flipped the script. Now 1 million people live around the city. 400 or so, mostly poor people, live inside the city. It is political will that changes that dynamic. It is somebody who takes it by the horns and says, no, not in my city, not on my watch, no way, no how. Difference between great cities and good cities, leadership. Difference between failing cities and good cities, leadership. I say we lack that here. They lacked it in Detroit. And I say if we change that, we can change the dynamic, and we do not have to throw up the white flag and say surrender to the idea that Cleveland may be very well going to be like Gary, Indiana, or Youngstown, or some smaller version of either one of those. I say a great city, great assets, 3 Major League Baseball teams, museums, number 3 and 5 employer in the state, and we're running around saying, hey, we need to shrink the city and invest in Cam's Corners and Harvard. What hell happens between? Wrong answer. And I would say to you, let's end this kind of craziness. Let's grow Cleveland. Let's make it a city that we can all be proud of, live, and love. It's not that hard. Just simple decisions and the will to carry them out. Run the crooks out and make some decisions that benefit all of us and not just a parochial few. Make me your mayor and we'll have that. Thank you.
Mr. Patmon, thank you very much. Mayor Jackson, your 3-minute response.
Well, I'm glad that you got something good to say about Cleveland. I happen to agree again with Mr. Patmon in terms
You agree with me?
Right on.
You agree with me? I get a hand.
No, you can't get no hand on that. Now, because what the part that I agree with Mr. Patton on is that I'm sorry, sir. Part that I agree with him on is that we should not be dealing with a shrinking city. We should not be. And the reason I mention that to you is because I come from a neighborhood, born and raised in a neighborhood, that if we would have followed that pattern, it would never exist. And I ran for council, and as a result of that, we've turned that neighborhood around. And there are good people there. So we cannot just write off individuals. We cannot write off neighborhoods. So I don't believe in a shrinking city. I believe in doing the best with what you have and to take advantage of the challenges and opportunities that present themselves to you. And the part that I know best is that where I come from, where I was born and raised, it was always challenge, every day. Sometimes just to go to school every day. Sometimes just to find a job. Sometimes just to be able to know that your house is not going to get broke in. And to have the kind of challenging dynamics that you have when you have gangs and turf issues. So I'm not adverse to challenges. I'm not adverse to hard times. I'm not. As a matter of fact, I rise to them and I deal with them. And I deal with it in a way that is most productive for that which I care about, which is this city and the people who live in this city. So it is what it is. It is what it is. And because of dealing with these challenges, it is what it is, and it's pretty good. It's a balanced budget. It's no layoffs. There's no reduction in service. It is what it is. It's a future for Cleveland. It is what it is. It's all these things that make Cleveland great. So I'm not willing to have a shrinking city, even though I do believe that going green is the right way to go. And what I will not do is deal with the rhetoric and the policies and all the academic discussion and let the opportunity go by. Because we had this opportunities in the early 70s, and we failed to take advantage of it through political leadership, corporate leadership, and philanthropic leadership. We are in the same position today, and I recognize the time in which I am in. And I recognize what needs to be done, and I guarantee you I'll do it to make Cleveland a great city.
Mayor Jackson, thank you very much. Mr. Patmon, thank you very much. These gentlemen, as you know, are both running for mayor of the city of Cleveland. If you haven't voted already, make sure you do. It's November 3rd. Jan?
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we have been listening to a debate between Frank Jackson and Bill Patmon, candidates for mayor of Cleveland. Thank you, candidates. Thank you, Dan Moulthrop and 90.3 WCPN ideastream, and thank you, audience. This forum is now adjourned. Yes.